Little bit of downer news here. Yeah, this isn't all that fucking great or anything like that, but Bruce Willis, you guys know, he's one of the most famous actors, at least action actors, literally ever. And yeah, unfortunately, God, it would be a little bit more uplifting if it was just simple cancer or something like that, but his whole fucking mind's going kerplunk, and to me personally, that's a fate worse than death. Okay, like medically speaking, if I can be just a little bit selfish for a moment, my medical history from my extended family, I'm a bit of a ticking time bomb, like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, stroke, all of those run far and wide in my family, my extended family. If anybody manages to live into their 80s and 90s, though, at least there's no real tangible history when it comes to Alzheimer's or dementia, or in this case, like Bruce Willis just came out with his diagnosis of aphasia. At least I can reliably say at least there's no history of it. So yeah, this just kind of blows, because he's one of those guys, and one of the first big ones from that generation, you know, like the big action stars from the mid to late 80s, early 90s, you know, the guys like Stallone and even Schwarzenegger, as much of a bitch as he's become, even fat hilarious Steven Seagal, all of those guys, like the big actors, the prolific actors from the last bastion of good films from Hollywood. He's the first one to really just kind of, he's officially retired, so just kind of step away from the scene. It just kind of sucks. There's no real silver lining to this one. So Bruce Willis has reportedly been struggling with cognitive issues on set of his films for years. Yeah, that's another thing that's been running around as well, and I didn't want to front load that with also saying that, yeah, okay, there were stories, but they also came from Kevin Smith, so you can take that with a grain of salt, considering it's a recitation of facts by a quantifiable cuck. But no, and then yeah, he's been spotted using an earpiece, giving less than enthusiastic performances in some of his recent roles. So at least there's an explanation for this, and yeah, it's unfortunate that it has to be this as well. Anyways, long before his family announced on Wednesday that the famed actor had been diagnosed with a brain condition. A statement on social media, Willis's family told his fans that he had been diagnosed with aphasia, a brain condition that affects his ability to understand language, and will therefore be stepping away from acting. But an unnamed source to the Page Six told his declining cognitive ability had been an open secret in Hollywood, as the actor repeatedly had trouble acting in his films. Yeah, couldn't remember too many of his lines, or at least a significant amount. He would only just pop in for cameos recently. Like, okay, like I said, and I've made this very, very open, and also, you know, regurgitated it multiple times, but I don't really pay attention to what goes on in Hollywood, and my scope of the current landscape is very incredibly limited. But the last time I remember Bruce Willis starring in a film was probably the last Die Hard, whenever that was, Die Hard 5 with that Russian kid. I can't remember. Or was it set in Russia? Whatever it was. That was like early 2010s or something like that. So everything else has just been spot parts, bit parts, and just like, okay, why is he continuing to do this? He's Bruce fucking Willis after all. He's probably still getting residual checks from Die Hard. But it was, I guess, for the love of his career, and the fact that, yes, they were just little walk-on parts with just little short lines, was because of, yes, this mental deterioration. Everybody knew, the cast and crew, the unnamed source said, adding that Willis uses earpiece, hearing things, very technical terminology here, for them to feed him lines, and it was increasingly difficult to have him on screen. He said that his films actually had to be made closer to where Willis resided with his family, who the source said had been taking care of the 67-year-old actor to make productions easier. And in at least one production, the source said, producers began using a body double to increase Willis's screen time, while another said his screen time was whittled down and the actor shooting on set for only 3 days. It was becoming super obvious he was having trouble. He could not act anymore. Now, the famed actor, who has even pictured on the set of American Siege in 2020, wearing an earpiece for 2 full years before the family's announcement that Willis has aphasia. Yeah, so it's, like they said before, very, very open secret that, he's been using little crutches for a while. And that picture right there is just a touch telling that, I don't know, maybe that's a crew member, maybe that's a cast member, but you can also tell it is Hollywood, and the unimportant people are wearing masks. Meanwhile, the stars aren't. And it's like, is that a body double? Perhaps, potentially, but again, I'm not here to drag him at all. This is just a dude who wanted to continue to do his job for as long as he can, as well as he could, theoretically. I don't think anybody's putting him up to this at this point, but now he's just kind of, unfortunately, got a sunset from it, and it sucks. Willis had previously been seen using an earpiece to allegedly feed him lines in a Broadway debut in Misery in 2015, and the unnamed insider told OK Magazine last year that he was struggling during the filming of M. Night Shyamalan's 2019 film Glass. Well, to be fair, it's an M. Night Shyamalan film. He's probably struggling to just take the content seriously. While filming Glass, staffers worked around him by cutting and editing and having him overdub lines because he struggled to remember and or deliver them. Oh, fuck. They told the publication, according to the New Zealand Herald. In most scenes in Glass, he's hooded, and they used stand-in body doubles to replace him. On set, he wouldn't smile and was always chaperoned by an assistant to guide him while walking. So, was he being put up to this stuff as well? And how long exactly was this taking place? Because, okay, acting on stage, on Broadway, doing plays is totally different. And this was a guy who, I don't know what his background is. I don't know if he was classically trained or stage trained like that. I think maybe I probably heard something like that, but regardless, it's been a minute, so you could understand him, especially if he has very long monologues and extended scenes on stage that he could require an earpiece or something like that. So maybe that's where it started. Maybe it was just an assistance at the time. Maybe that's the starting point of all of this stuff, but having a overdub a sequel to Unbreakable, sequel or prequel, I don't know, a continuation of that story. That's what Glass was. So for him to have to jump through all these hoops on this one, yuck. His wife Emma has helped Demi Moore and the children Bruce shares with his ex-wife to make truces because they know he's fading. The unnamed source told the magazine in January of 2021. Between Demi and Emma, the family has always ensured Bruce has the support and care they might need at any given time. So he's like really gone, huh? Like this isn't just a simple, oh yeah, he has early onset aphasia, and it's like, yeah, you can't really understand. Sometimes, some days are better than others, but if he has to be constantly walked from room to room on unknown sets, or at least sets that are just new to him, dude, ugh. How long before we have to do a much more grisly update video? Ugh. In recent years, the New Zealand Herald reports diehard fans of the actor, have noticed that he's taking more roles to straight-to-video releases. Yeah, no, you can just read his credits page at this point. It's fairly pitiful for somebody who is of that level without knowing this information as well. This year, Page 6 reports, Willis was given his own category at the Razzies, a parody award show, for the worst movies of 2021, in which he starred in 8 critically panned films. They might feel a little bit bad about that, but again, it's like, okay, cool. You still did bit parts and, 8 really shit movies, so it is comedy after all. It might be in bad taste for some people, but like it says here, the Razzies are truly sorry for Bruce Willis' diagnosed conditions. Perhaps this explains why I wanted to go out with a bang in 2021. Our best wishes to Bruce and the family. Hey, if you guys are going to maintain yourself being a comedy show, that's the best way to do it, okay? Still have a little bit of a jab, but at least, have a little bit of humility about it, because it does suck, okay? Not gonna sugarcoat it at all. Like I said at the beginning, it's horrible. There's no two ways about it. So yeah, now he's gonna spend out the rest of the days that he, theoretically has left with his family, and well, his brain's not all that strong anymore. Well, you can see by the photograph of the children that he has there, his genes are definitely strong, because that jawline didn't come from Demi Moore. Just saying that one. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. Watch your fly your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.